Artificial intelligence is becoming more sophisticated and powerful. Can it even help you with your money? I'm James Derrick, president of Smedley Financial. Today, we will be talking with experts and guests, Parker Thompson and Jordan Hadfield.
Welcome to the SFS PowerUp Wealth podcast, where we provide impactful insight and expert opinions on timeless financial principles and timely investment topics, preparing you to make smarter decisions with your money.
Thank you for joining me today, Parker.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Parker Thompson is a private wealth manager at Smedley Financial Services. He's got a certified financial planning designation. We're excited to talk about your article. And with us, we also have Jordan Hadfield. Thanks, Jordan.
I'm excited to be here.
Jordan Hadfield is also a private wealth manager at Smedley Financial. He is the vice president of wealth management, and he also has a certified financial planning or CFP designation. You two both recently wrote an article about artificial intelligence.
It was a fun one to write, was it not, Parker?
Yeah, it was a good time.
I mean, it sounds incredibly interesting. I mean, I remember it wasn't that long ago when you could ask AI to show you the inside of an apple, and it would just make up some kaleidoscope picture, and you were like, what in the world is this? Or you could say, how many S's are in the word Mississippi, and it couldn't count. And to a very large degree, some of these problems are being solved, and it's getting more and more useful.
To witness the exponential growth of AI in real time has been absolutely fascinating and scary at the same time.
Let's talk about scary for a second. I mean, do you think AI, maybe I'm moving too fast here, but is it going to replace jobs?
100%. No question about it.
Should we be worried about it?
No, I don't think we should be worried about it. Just like when the internet hit. I mean, the internet was a big disruptor, and there were a lot of jobs that, went the way of the dodo bird, but it created a lot of opportunities. Things shift. The market shifted. Industry shifted. They absorbed this new technology and they used it for their benefit. I think AI is going to be very similar. I think that it's going to be a disruptor, and I think it's also going to create opportunities and possibilities for people. And I'm nervously excited about what the future holds.
What history tells us about these kinds of disruptions like AI is that the speed with which they come on to society determines how many jobs they replace. I don't know if that makes sense, but I mean, think of it like this, like every bridge you build puts somebody who drives a ferry out of business. And so, it was true about the railroad. It was true about electricity. It's true about the internet, as you mentioned, and it'll be true about AI. Like it'll replace jobs, but it's going to create great opportunity. The question is can society adapt as fast as the technology is coming?
Yeah. And where are those opportunities going to present themselves? A lot of question about that.
Let's talk about financial planning and money and investing. Where is AI helpful?
Well, like we've experienced, that this AI is becoming more and more sophisticated. A lot of the questions that I get from family and friends are, what is it doing in your job? Or do you think it's going to replace your job or what you do as a profession? I always find that very interesting because I have to be bluntly honest with them that yes, AI is replacing jobs. Do I think it's going to replace our job? The simple answer is no, but let's get more nuanced in it. What are we using it for in our industry? What are we using AI for that helps us, that aids us? What things do we fear that it might take over? What is AI versus the human financial advisor? And that's a conversation that I enjoy having with my family and friends. So I always start out with the initial human element of it, right? There's so much that a person can sense when someone comes into our office and asks advice versus someone just typing in a prompt, a sentence or two and asking a question on any sort of chatbot or AI technology.
Yeah, well, I love how you said it's nuanced because we tend to think like it's either AI or it's the traditional advisor. And that would be true whether we're talking about accounting or financial advice or doctors or lawyers or whatever. But it really is more nuanced than that, isn't it? Because you've got a third category, which is the advisor who's using AI. Let's talk a little bit about how AI is helpful to the advisor.
Yeah, AI is definitely helpful to the advisor, but it's important to understand that financial planning is not an optimization problem. AI is great at optimizing set of data.
Explain what you mean.
I mean, if I've got an Excel spreadsheet, right, and I'm looking to categorize it in a certain way, or let's say, for example, I've got a portfolio and I want to figure out how to allocate it. It can take these data points and it can look back through the internet and all that the internet has provided and come up with a reasonable explanation for how my portfolio should be allocated, how my Excel spreadsheet should be organized. and give me some, general information that's useful. Financial planning is far deeper than that. It is not an optimization problem. A human can weigh many trade-offs, incomplete information, and conflicting goals and say, this is not an optimization of the portfolio problem, but rather it is a situation where a client is choosing between multiple goals. A client with different priorities than maybe I have, or the next person has, or the person after that. There's different situations in his life. He's got a different risk tolerance. She's got a different set of skills, set of weaknesses, whatever it may be. Some of these human elements of financial planning are very, very difficult, if not impossible, at this point for AI to understand. There's a lot of emotion involved in financial planning. And again, I'm not talking about optimizing a portfolio. I'm talking about sitting next to a client who just had a spouse pass. And how do we handle that? And what is the risk tolerance? What can this person emotionally handle from a risk standpoint? It's not just let's optimize your portfolio.
So we're talking about things that can't be quantified.
Exactly.
We're talking about
some of the intangibles, right? It's some of the context.
Financial planning is an art form more than it is just optimizing numbers.
You mentioned the unexpected. How well does it handle the unexpected, and how do you handle the unexpected as an advisor? And when I say that, I mean it could be the death of an individual, a spouse, or a divorce, or it could be something unexpected in the world. War breaks out. How do you handle it as a financial advisor, Parker?
I love this question because it gets into the predictive nature of AI, and a lot of people like to speculate in this area. And maybe this is more of a question that I could pose to you, James, because you are the money manager, right? You're looking at the markets and you're trading accounts and making sure the money is safe and protected. Do you think that AI is any better at predicting where the economy and the market's going to go versus the tools that you have at your hands?
That's a good question. I don't think that anyone, even a computer, can tell you what the future is going to bring. I mean, it's just a complete unknown. If AI does a good job, then what it'll do is it'll give you a very broad-based answer that leaves room for the unexpected. And that would be AI doing a good job, but it would also be less helpful for making a trade. And so, what we'll do in the office is we have very specific parameters we're looking for, and we want to watch for them. And if X occurs, then we're going to do Y. We've been doing it for years and years and years, and we've used AI actually to help codify or code these scenarios so that we can be notified if it happens. And so we're able to use AI without divulging what trades we're going to make. We're not sharing any private information, but we're able to utilize it to be helpful to find triggers that we find are helpful for establishing some type of probability for the future. So we might say, well, we've got a 78% chance that something might happen. And that's not really predicting the future, but it's giving us a glimpse, a possible future. And it helps us know what to do. And I think AI is going to have a really hard time doing that because there's so many ideas out there. And when you give it a prompt, if it gives you a very specific answer, I would actually be nervous about that.
So I want to bring your response back to the original question, which was, okay, on the financial planning side of things, it's very similar. We understand that AI can give a very general and simplistic, basic answer about something. It's not near as predictive as everyone touts it to be. And in fact, just as much as it cannot predict what's going to happen tomorrow or the next week or the next year in the markets, it may take a jab at it, but it doesn't know what's on the horizon. It's very similar with financial planning. How can any of us, even humans, predict what's going to happen tomorrow, right? We don't know if someone's going to become disabled, divorced, if someone's going to pass away. We're not sure what sort of war is going to start across the world. We're not sure what kind of fear that's going to instill in the markets, what's fear that's going to instill in us or in our loved ones. And so a lot of this is reactive anyways. And AI doesn't necessarily have, if X happens, then Y, you should do this. It doesn't give you those answers. And that's why the power of a human advisor sometimes can be the best. And in most times when there's emotion involved, always can be someone who can see all the picture. It can be someone who can match up all the puzzle pieces.
Jordan?
Just for fun, I typed into AI here in real time, went to ChatGPT, and I typed in, can I rely on AI for financial advice or should I use a human advisor? And it says, you can use AI as a helpful tool, but I would not treat it as a standalone substitute for qualified human advisor when real money, taxes, or legal consequences are on the line. Generative AI can sound confident while being wrong and make up details if it lacks context. Risk management guidance for generative AI emphasizes governance, testing, and incident handling precisely because these risks can be novel or amplified with general AI. Financial planning is messy, and if AI doesn't understand who you are at the deepest level and what your goals are and what your priorities are, how can it generate advice that is tailored to you? It can't. And again, it takes a human advisor to connect with you on an emotional level, understand who you are, make recommendations for you specifically. If we're making a tax recommendation, we're taking into account things way outside of taxes. We're taking into account your faith. We're taking into account your estate planning goals. We're taking into account more than just numbers. It's not a math problem. Again, financial planning is art, and I take a lot of pride in that. And I'm confident that AI is not going to replace the financial advisor. However, AI is a tool, and I think financial advisors that can successfully incorporate AI into their firms and into their planning will replace the financial advisors that do not use AI.
I think that is an area we should really dive into. I was talking to a doctor several weeks ago and asked about the use of AI, and he was absolutely using it and loving it. He said, I can meet with more patients with the help of AI because it's helping me to somewhat with the diagnosis, but I think more of the note-taking. I asked my dentist the other day if they're using it, and the answer was no, but they spent quite a bit of time, putting their hands in my mouth and then going to the keyboard, then hands back in my mouth, then back to the keyboard. And so there was some of that going on. And I think, well, boy, there's a real opportunity here for some improvement. So let's talk about you guys.
Yeah, I would say very much similar to was it the dentist? The dentist wasn't using it, but
the doctor was.
The doctor was. It's a lot of the transactional stuff that we do in our business that is required. It's regulative, it's needed, and it's necessary, but it takes a lot of our time. We would love to be in meeting with clients and doing interpersonal connections all the time. That is only a fraction of our time. What takes up most of our time is recording some of the notes and putting those into our system and making sure that all of that is done correctly and concisely. That is where we're finding that AI can really pick up a lot of the legwork there.
Absolutely.
And it's adding back so much of our time. We get to be more present with clients. We get to be more active in their plans.
We get to focus more on the relationship and the emotional side of the client.
And we're not stuck with paperwork. The paperwork is becoming faster and more efficient. The legwork, all the notes, that is what AI is taking and shouldering most of.
Absolutely agree. As far as the onboarding process and the note-taking and document analysis and projections at scale, AI is fantastic. But there is something that I really want to stress. I want to highlight this. I want to hit this really hard. As a financial advisor, our first, second, third, fourth, and fifth priorities are your privacy and the safety of your information. And even though we are incorporating AI at our firm and we're using it in several different ways, we are very, very careful and very strict about how information is used with AI. We never use personal information of our clients. We never use personal information of the firm. We never use account numbers, account balances. That personal information is sacred to us. We are very, very careful about putting that.
We don't even put anonymous information out there.
None. And I can't stress this enough because there's a lot of legitimate fears about AI. We are very, very, very careful about how we use this, and protecting our clients' privacy, again, is our utmost priority.
I totally agree. Now, if somebody's going to do this on their own, like a little bit of AI advice, should they be worried about those same privacy things that Smedley Financial is so careful?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
So if, let's say I'm an individual, I'm looking for some advice and I put my information out on the web for an AI, is that public information now?
It's not necessarily that it's public information. It can be with some of the resources that you use, but it is now something that AI can learn from and incorporate in. We're not sure what's going to make it through. I think there are sophisticated enough systems that don't share public information to others, but there's no guarantee, right? We haven't been assured of that, but we know that AIs are learning models, so it's just going to absorb everything it can and learn from it, which means that you're part of the study.
You're part, yeah. If you're not paying for the product, you are the product, as Shane Thomas likes to say in the office here. And that means that it's basically taking what I've given it, and at any point in time, it can regurgitate that information to anyone.
The safe road here is if it's private information, you do not put it anywhere around OpenAI in any way, shape, or form. I just think the safe road is the best road in this case, especially when we're talking about your finances to this level.
This is one of the holdups too for me, is that how can you gather a full financial plan? How can you fully prompt an AI device or an AI app or software with all the applicable information without giving away some of that personal data, that personal identifiable information? We go over that here in person in the office, and it's stored securely on our servers and encrypted, and we take all the measures that we can, and we use that data to create our plans. If you're not giving that to your AI bot when you're prompting it for a financial plan, how is it supposed to gather a full financial plan? How is it supposed to be perfect end to end, or at least as good as it can be and complete and contextual if it doesn't have all that information? That's one of the things that if we are going to be safe with our data, AI is already at a disadvantage because it can't see the whole picture.
Well said. One final thought. What about this idea that you give in the final paragraph? Advisors using AI in the future will replace those who don't. Could you expound a little bit on that idea?
Yeah, I think we will see a contraction in the industry. I think as AI gets better, I think advisors become far more efficient, and I think they can handle more. And I think there'll be a contraction in the industry. And I think top advisors and top advising firms will really rise to the top, and their benefit to society, the benefit to the clients, and their professional advice will continue well into the future. But those advisors who struggle, particularly when it comes to using the tools available to provide the best services to their clients, I think that struggle is just going to increase, and I think they'll end up being displaced.
I think what you're going to see is those who don't use AI will start to fall behind, like Jordan was saying. I think those who are empowered by AI and use it well and use it wisely are going to far exceed the capabilities that financial advisors have had in the past. I will remain true to these two things. Clients will always want technology to be a part of their process because they know that it can be generationally changing and generationally effective. But I also think that people still want that human connection.
I think that's right.
They're always going to want that.
The tools that are going to be most helpful will be those that are built in, the so-called agents that are built into the software, so that your financial planning software, your note-taking software, your portfolio software, it's got some built-in capabilities that have been upgraded to incorporate the best technology. And therefore, the advisor's not put out of business, but the skills are amplified. Time is better spent.
If I can give an analogy, as you know, and I've talked about on this podcast, I'm a big chess player. I love the game of chess.
You're a very good chess player.
Thank you. I study it, and I have a lot of fun playing it. Well, there are AI bots out there that play chess, and these bots are absolutely amazing. But you take someone like Magnus Carlsen, who is the greatest chess player the world has ever seen. He's absolutely incredible. He's amazing. He'll play these bots, and it's a different style of play. And people often ask, how could someone like Magnus Carlsen that can literally calculate 30, 40 moves ahead, how can AI help him in his game? And the truth of the matter is, he doesn't need help on every move. If he gets help on 3 moves in a chess game, he is literally unbeatable, because it's those 3 moves that will pivot the game in his direction. It's not every move. And it's a lot like that in financial advising. There's sometimes that AI can help us a little bit here and a little bit there, and that makes a world of difference. And that's what we're trying to provide for our clients, is a world of difference.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Parker. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you, James.
Thank you for joining the PowerUp Wealth podcast. Smedley Financial is located at 102 South, 200 East, Suite 100 in Salt Lake City, Utah, 84111. Call us today at 800-748-4788. You can also find us on the web at smedleyfinancial.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. The views expressed are Smedley Financial's and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities or services mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should only be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice.
Securities offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Smedley Financial Services, Inc. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth.